That was me, giving Brad yet another chance to do the right thing. So the hearing is scheduled for April 8th, 2008. 6 months to the day that we lost Tony. And you insisted on going to the hearing.
Yeah.
Why were you so adamant?
Because I didn't want you to be alone. And I couldn't be at a hearing with you before because I was so little.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what I think you already knew, which is everyone will be there.
Let me put it to you this way, baby. If they had wanted me dead, and that's what they wanted, I have the letter.
Thank you to all of those who have subscribed recently. That has been a huge boost. Don't think that we haven't noticed. We love the comments, we love the engagement, we love the views, and the thing that helps us the most is every time our subscribers go up, we reach more people and we're able to keep producing higher quality videos. So please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and let's get on to the show. Welcome to Bear It All, the Kintsugi Chronicles, here on the I Am Not Okay channel, where we gather our broken pieces in search of gold. My name is John Bear. I'll be with you in spirit. This is MJ Bear and Holly Bear. And today's topic, MJ, take it away.
Good morning. It's morning. Is that how Macklin says it?
No,
How's he say it?
I don't remember because he doesn't do it anymore. No,
How about the baby?
no.
How does he wake you up?
That baby doesn't wake up anymore. He sleeps like me. Macklin will wake up and be like,
Who was it that woke up at the crack of dawn on Saturday?
Macklin,
Was it Macklin? Okay.
5 a.m.
Oh, right. It
to
was
watch
a
the
wrestling
wrestling
match?
in Australia.
Who told him about that?
He watched it. Him and Gigi always watch WWE
That's right. Okay.
Friday night, and it was on one of those like little scroll things.
And he read it?
He did.
That's
And he
wild.
said, 5 a.m.? And he's like, Daddy, you have to wake me up. And he didn't wake up at 5.
Oh, okay.
Phil got him up at like 6, but he thinks it was 5, so
okay,
we'll let
okay.
him think it's 5. But yeah, he woke up. He woke up.
Got anything on your mind?
No,
So do I have to pull teeth
no.
to get you to talk?
You talk. Ask me a question.
Well, before I even ask you a question, I'm going to say to you what I've said to John. And that's, I am sorry for the part I've played in all of this, including, participating in abuse.
I'm going to stop you there
Why?
because I don't need an apology. I don't need you to tell me that you're sorry for something that happened years ago. Something that didn't affect me as much as maybe John or Tony. But I'm okay. And I don't think you think I am, but I am. And
I'm trying to understand it.
I know. And I'm sure it's hard to understand.
It's, for me, it's as if the way you feel is behind glass. I can see it. I see it when you're telling me about these things or you're discussing them with John. I know you mean it, and I know you look fine. But there are times when you look fine, but you're not fine.
Yeah, but
So I just want to make sure that...
I don't need the apology, though, because I don't think that you did anything wrong. You've always been on a pedestal to me. You've always been my person. I've always come to you, called you multiple times a day, and you've always been there. So I never felt as if you weren't in the same household as me. You physically didn't sleep there, but I always knew you were there. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
So I never, I mean, I was young when you and Dad divorced.
Yes.
I don't remember any of that. I don't remember only living with him until I got older. And even then, consistently, every other weekend, or if I called you crying, you'd come get me. So I saw you as much as I saw the person that I lived with. A lot. So in my mind, you never left. You were always there. So I don't need an apology. I don't think an apology is warranted, because even though you think that maybe I was abused emotionally, physically, all that, for me, it was a very short period of my life because my brothers got big fast.
That's right.
And I wasn't scared. I had them. So I didn't get the prolonged abuse that maybe you think that I did. And by the time I was 13, I lived with you. So I'm very, I don't want to say unfazed because I watch you guys go through it, but it's not affecting me. I don't have trauma. I don't think about my childhood as traumatic. But I know you went through, and I know John went through, and unfortunately, I knew Tony went through, but I never asked him or know how he feels at this point. But when I tell you I'm okay, I'm okay. My childhood does not affect me.
And my childhood was like a giant black cloud, a monolith following me around. So I'm looking at this from my perspective, right? Growing up, the only thing you had was family. And I was thinking about this. My world, even though my world itself was very, very small, meaning I didn't have a global reach to anything growing up. No internet, if I wanted to know something about a product or a company, I'd have to write to them.
Yeah. Completely different now.
Just so different. And even though my world was that tiny, the most important thing was family. How did I make the association that this is what I'm supposed to be striving for all my life? I wanted to be a part of that up until I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So again, I'm looking at all of these things from my perspective, and that's why I keep saying, are you sure you're okay? Because I would have been devastated.
I know.
So I just think it's interesting you're able to say, I'm not of that past, or that past didn't impact me the way I thought it impacted you. That's why we're having these conversations, by the way. I thought I knew my kids. Are you learning anything about me as we're going on in these things?
Not that I didn't already know.
So I've talked about these with you?
Not this particular thing, no. But I think you just always thought that I was traumatized, and I'm not.
Yeah.
The saying, let the past be the past sort of thing. I think I had a good childhood. I really do. I had, Dad was always working, so we were always at the house, me and Tony, or me, Tony, and John. And we would play and watch MTV or play outside or go with our friends. I remember multiple times me and Tony would get on the bus and go to the mall. Like, that was fun for me. And in the summer when we didn't have school and we would go play with our cousins.
I know, that was big.
That was fun for me. So all the little things, all the bad things that happened are kind of overshadowed by the fun that I had.
Okay.
And to me, it was a normal childhood, right? To me, that's all I knew.
Yeah, that's true too. And mine was normal for me.
Right, right. But I don't look at it as traumatizing. As I got older, and to be perfectly honest, the first traumatizing thing for me was losing my brother, and I was 19.
Really?
Yeah.
So everything else up until that point was...
Well, you got to remember, I made a decision, right? And I asked you how old I had to be to pick where I wanted to live. Because I've wanted to live with you since I could remember. And it was 13. And on my 13th birthday, I told you, I want to move in with you. And I was enrolled in school by August in your district. That was pretty quick, right? You granted that birthday wish for me. And from that point, I didn't have to worry about anything. It was you and me. Pick me up from basketball practice. We'd get dinner. You'd always make dinner. Not get dinner. You'd always make dinner, and we'd put on the Gilmore Girls. I had a great childhood. Until...
I'm really happy to hear you say that.
I know it's hard to think about that, but yeah, I'm sure John went through the thick with you, right? He was older, a lot older than me. But I had two brothers to protect me. I really didn't get... Now, I'm not saying I didn't get physically abused, because I did. But it was for such a short period of time that there are only like a couple instances that I can really remember.
Okay.
Because John got so big, and then Tony right behind him, no one was ever getting to me. They protected me. And from them protecting me, they have this trauma. That part sucks, right? You have this trauma. That part sucks. And I'm like the one over here who's all like, everything's great.
Holly, I'm trying to think. I don't remember feeling as if I ever had any protection from anyone in my family growing up. My first memory is the beach story.
Mm-hmm.
And from that story, that was the foundation of everything. It was almost as if it was foreshadowing everything to come. And every time something happened, there wasn't anyone there.
Mm-hmm.
So my perspective, when you say Tony and John were there to protect you, on one hand, I think, oh, I'm so grateful for that. That was the one thing I hoped would change, was your relationship with your brothers, their relationship with you. It was so important to me that you have a relationship with your brothers, a good relationship, and that you want to be in each other's lives. And that when things are tough, you know you can talk to each other, and they're not going to judge you. I don't know what that feels like. No wonder I'm so weird, huh?
You're not weird.
All right, speaking of, I'm going to veer off in another direction, a little tougher direction. After Tony died, and I filed a complaint in district court against Brad. Do you know why I filed that complaint, baby?
To prove a point. You already knew the outcome. But you were trying to prove a point.
Okay. That's exactly why I filed a complaint. And here's what I did. The night Tony died, I was out in the parking lot of Mimi's condo, wandering. And I was over by Dickerson Road, the entrance on Dickerson Road. And all of a sudden, Brad comes to find me. And he said to me, I don't think I can pay for Tony's funeral right now. And I said, I'll take care of it. You can pay me. That was the entire conversation regarding how we were going to take care of the financial aspect of Tony's service. That was it. That was the only conversation I had with Brad. Until I sent him the bill after I paid it, and I said, here you go, here's what you owe. He sent me a check for $200 and a letter. Do you remember what the letter said? I'll cut to the chase. I'll pay you the rest when I get half of Tony's ashes.
I didn't realize that was the letter.
Mm-hmm.
And what was my response to you about splitting my brother's ashes?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely the fuck not. And why that was so important to me is because he's still a person. Okay. When you get buried in the ground, no one says, ooh, I want their arm or I want their foot. Okay, you keep them whole and you bury them. So just because my brother is cremated and is a bunch of ashes doesn't mean you split him up. Now, go on with your story.
Well, my story is exactly like yours. There will never be a snowball's chance in hell that I'd exchange my son's remains for cash.
No.
Okay? That's what Brad wanted me to do. Exchange Tony's remains for cash. I said, no, not going to happen. And then I decided I'm going to use the fact that Brad chose not to do the last thing he could have done in memory of his son. And that means just do the right thing. Just do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I took advantage of the fact that that he was finding a way to avoid doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his purpose, to find a way not to do the right thing. So I filed a complaint knowing that I didn't give a damn what the outcome was. Like you said, my purpose in filing that complaint was to have a record in the state, a permanent record in the state, which says this man chose not to pay for his son's funeral. That was my purpose in filing the complaint, right?
Mm-hmm.
Up until now, you're probably the only other person that knows why I filed that complaint. None of the other people who made themselves a party to this situation that has nothing to do with them, when they walked into court, I guess I should back up, shouldn't I? I filed a complaint in small claims court because it was a way for me to get in front of a judge. And that was all I wanted. I wanted this document filed. Nobody knows that the minute I got the summons in the mail saying appear in court on this date, I had a docket number. I had achieved my objective before I ever walked into court. Again, none of these people knew it. My father, my youngest sister, her two eldest children, my former husband, his mother, his father, his girlfriend. So 7 people that Brad brought to a hearing that had to do with a financial arrangement between 2 former spouses. It had nothing to do with any of those people. Furthermore, they had nothing to add to the proceedings. They hadn't heard the conversation between Brad and I.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't said anything to anyone other than Tina. And I don't remember why we were talking about it. When I told Tina that Brad came to me the night Tony died, and he said, I said, all right, I'll take care of it. You pay me. Before I even got those words out of my mouth, Tina said, well, you have to give him a chance. And I thought, how the hell does she know how many chances I've given this man? First of all, how could she possibly know that?
I don't think she could.
I know she heard what I said, Holly, because she responded to what I said, but she didn't hear or comprehend what I said.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take care of it. You can pay me. That was me giving Brad yet another chance to do the right thing. So the hearing is scheduled for April 8th, 2008. 6 months to the day that we lost Tony. And you insisted on going to the hearing.
Yeah.
Why were you so adamant?
Because I didn't want you to be alone. And I couldn't be at a hearing with you before because I was so little.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what I think you already knew, which is everyone will be there.
Let me put it to you this way, baby. If they had wanted me dead, and that's what they wanted, I have the letter, they should have encouraged Brad to show up at a hearing with just himself and his folder of evidence. If Brad had shown up to that hearing alone that day, Holly, I probably would have had a heart attack on the spot and died. Brad attending a hearing, a family court hearing, anything to do with these situations, with the exception of one time, he always showed up with an entourage in family court. His mother and father were always with him, and his girlfriend was always with him. He never arrived in court to plead a case based on the evidence. Brad would come into court, and this is his MO. He believes that if he has the bigger the entourage of people in court that are willing to speak to my character, the more the judge can see what a great guy I am. You know, he wants to walk into a courtroom, the judge walks in, you take your oath, you sit down, Brad starts to plead his case, and the judge says, wait a minute, you have a whole peanut gallery here. You have 12 people here to speak to your character. I don't need to hear anything else, Brad. You're a great guy. You know what? Screw her. Off with her head. Give him everything he wants. That's what Brad wanted every time he walked into court. And the last time was this hearing regarding the fees for Tony's funeral. And this time he walked in not only with my sister, but her children. So now we have another generation of that family jumping on the same bandwagon. They don't know me. Where the hell would they have gotten information about me? They don't know me. Their family doesn't talk about it. Don't they tell you we don't talk about it? It's in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So their family doesn't talk about it. I know I didn't tell them. You didn't tell them. I'm sure Brad didn't tell them. Where the hell would they learn anything about me, huh? Can't imagine, right?
No.
It's these kinds of leaky vessels that they're bleeding out exactly what they're doing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're telling you who they are without telling you who they are. So there's my family. They're sitting in court. They show up to support Brad.
And who's on our side?
Me and you.
That's it.
I said Brad is a known abuser in my letter because it's known in my family that he's abusive. I don't know if you saw the one of the videos I did with John where Brad and me and Andrea were in his car, it's Monte Carlo, and we'd gone someplace. We were pulling up to our apartment, and I had said something that irritated Brad, and he hauled up and smacked me in the mouth. Andrea and I didn't say anything. We didn't even react. because it was such a normal thing to be abused in that way. It was so normal that you don't even react to it. What was I going with that?
Back to the case.
Back to the case.
So we're in court.
All right, we walk into the vestibule. Mm-hmm. What was your initial reaction?
I can't believe they're here.
So you were surprised?
I was.
Okay.
I was, because I was 20 at that point, and I'd never seen it.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes.
You know what I mean? I've heard about it.
Is it different when you see it happening versus
Yes.
what you hear? That's why I want to have these conversations on tape, because we talk. We think we talk all the time, but these are things we've never actually discussed. They're really hurtful, painful, I don't want to think about it things, even though we're all thinking about it.
Yeah, but I was there for one reason, and it was for you. It wasn't. I didn't care that they were there.
Yeah, I didn't care that
laughed,
they were there either.
Right? I was like, you all took off work.
My father was dressed as if he were going to court at his peak as a police chief, that he was dressed to the nines, his hair was combed and polished, wearing his three-piece suit, his polished shoes. Brad walked into that vestibule that day, Holly, vibrating with excitement because my father was there. Brad was absolutely certain that the last hurrah, the last time he would likely face off with me in a courtroom, that he had my father on his side and that everything was going to go his way. There was not a chance in hell.
How'd that go?
Well, we're going to talk. But the point is, I know him in these situations. At that point, I'd been facing off 20 years. So he was absolutely certain that everything was going to go his way. There's nobody in a courtroom more credible than the judge, except for a former police chief. Everyone believes the former police chief. And Brad, a win was he didn't have to open his wallet, by the way.
Oh, yeah. He didn't. He still thinks that he won.
Right. But nobody won.
I did.
What'd you win?
My brother as one piece. I know you, and this goes back to me saying that you've always been there and it didn't matter. We did not grow up rich. We did not have a lot of money. You didn't have any help, right? And tragically, your son died and you found a way to pay for it without anybody else's help. I need you to realize that, okay? You showed up. You've always shown up. And to be clear to some people who have commented and said horrible things about you, my mother has always been there for me. For my brothers, for me. No matter what. She never disappeared. She never not answered the phone. She never didn't unlock her door when I would show up on her doorstep. Always. And when people decide to take their own lives, it's not you pushing them or me pushing them or someone else pushing them. Okay? It's a decision that they made by themselves. It's the same as if someone started doing pills or becoming an alcoholic. It's the decisions they made. I'm going to put this pill in my mouth. I'm going to drink this alcohol. Unfortunately, my brother made a decision because he was in pain. It was not your fault. It's not because you weren't there for him. Just like someone in my family who, or your family, or their family, who decides to use drugs. They didn't stick the needle in your arm or force the pill down your throat. You made that decision. So do not say, my mom's a horrible mom. My mom was never there. She ran away. Where were you for 20 years? You were always there, no matter what. You were the backbone for all of us, and you caught us when we fell. You didn't need to be center stage with the light shining on you.
No.
But the three of us always knew where you were, no matter what. You never turned your back on us. So for the people who continue to comment nasty things about my mom, fuck off. Okay? Because you don't know her. You don't know the situation. You were not there. And take a look in the mirror.
Can we continue down that particular path just for a minute?
Absolutely.
I think it's an interesting aspect of abusive families and what I just referenced with the kids. This is now a situation where my parents' generation fucked us up. Let's say what it is. My parents' generation fucked us up. I, in turn, participated in fucking up my children.
You're assuming, but go ahead.
Well,
You assume you fucked us up.
no, I don't assume I did that. My family, my husband's family, my former husband's family, have all found ways to tell me that. Now, my family, the people in your generation, like I said, that don't know me, are jumping on that same bandwagon.
Correct.
Right? Your mother,
Yes.
your mother's of this, your mother's of that, your mother's the other thing. And it's also happening on the paternal side of the family, where again, it's your generation where individuals who, they don't know me,
Like,
but have-
literally don't know you.
don't know me. And they have a very definitive opinion about who I am. Where would they have derived all of this information
Whisper down the lane, of course.
from? Where would the source be?
My dad's side of the family.
Right, it would be your father, and then
The whole side of the
filtered.
family.
Right, it would filter through
The
everybody.
whole side. Just the whole side.
And the reason I wanted to just touch on this is because we haven't had any direct contact from anyone in Brad's family.
No.
How long was it that you haven't had contact with the cousins and whatever? Like, I asked
I
this to
haven't,
John.
I don't remember. I haven't talked. I talked to the girl cousin because of Papa. So that was relatively recent.
I asked John, when it comes to your cousins, are you friends, good friends?
No.
Or are you holiday cousins, meaning
Not
you
even
only
that.
saw each other
Not even that.
even when you were little kids?
Little kids we did, but as we got older and adults, no.
So
There's no contact.
So really, you have no relationship.
Not really, no.
So the only source, again, it's not you and it's not John, but there's, again, a very definitive opinion. And the point here is for everyone to recognize the fact that when you think these things are over, they're not. This person is dredging up. Well, it's an opinion. That's all it can be. It's an opinion.
On something that, or videos in the past that really didn't have much to do with my dad's side of the family.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you so mad?
That's a good question.
Why do you feel the need to start pointing fingers at someone you don't even know? I don't get it, and I won't have it. That's my mom. No.
You don't have to defend me.
I know I don't have to.
I look at it this way. There are many random people in the world who may or may not have an opinion about something they see me do or say, and they're entitled to their opinions.
Everyone's entitled to their own opinions.
It's when they start posting their opinion as facts that I really begin to wonder about the source of the information. One of the things that was said was...
I don't even care about the source of your information. I don't care where you think or you don't think you got this from. Don't attack somebody that you don't know. Don't say shit about a person who was always there for me, the only person who was always there for me, regardless if you saw them or not. It was never meant for you to see. She was my mom. She was there for me and my brothers. It has nothing to do with you.
That's why nobody saw me at Jimmy's funeral.
That's
I
what
wasn't there for
But we
anybody.
knew you were there.
Yes,
My
I know
point
that.
is
You're the only people that can write my report card as a mother.
correct.
What
So-
anyone else has to say is immaterial as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. So fuck off.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt my feelings. That didn't hurt my feelings. But again, it brought up the fact that when you think it's over in these families, there's always somebody willing to jump on the bandwagon. And I'll tell you another thing I think about the situation. None of the comments have been made on the videos. These comments were made on John's personal social media. So they're being made directly to John with a much smaller audience over on his social media, discussing what we're talking about on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So that's a way to mask himself from being known as an agitator or whatever the hell it is he's doing. My opinion is he and his dad and probably his sister are so royally pissed off about what John said. Remember when Papa was coming out of the hospital and John said, look, if Papa wants to live to be 100, don't let him go. He gets out of the hospital, you let him go eat wings and beer?
That was John's opinion, right?
Right.
But I don't.
They went bananas.
I know. And I had the opposite. Let him do what he wants. He's old. He worked hard. He deserves it.
Well,
I
that
understand
would be my
John's opinion.
Yeah.
I do, because he did. That's one thing Papa always said was, I'm going to live to be 100.
Because he wanted the letter from the president.
Correct.
Even I know that, and I've been in
Correct.
that family for years.
I'm not defending anybody. I'm just saying I understand,
No, I understand.
everybody's point of...
And that's the point here. You understand that John has his own opinion, and it wasn't to say, I'm trying to screw Papa over.
No.
It was, that's the way he expresses concern. He was probably too abrupt, and I think he knows that. But the message was, if Papa wants to make that goal, he shouldn't be eating wings.
Correct.
Your opinion is different, their opinion is different, but they never bothered to find out why John said what he said. And again, that's the issue we're having with generations being what they think are so far apart on the issues. We can't talk to the boomers. We can't talk to, I don't even know what else there is out there.
I don't either.
Okay. Well,
I don't even know what I
this
am.
ones do this and this ones do that. And again, it's because we don't understand why this generation is doing what they're doing or did what they did. And you're looking at it from your perspective. In fact, in your video, you and John were talking about, I wish Mom and Dad would have talked about when they were upset or told us they were upset, so we knew that it wasn't us that was making them upset. And I said to John, that's such a perfect segue here. Mm-hmm. In my world back then, I never knew that was an option. I never knew saying
Because
to
it
anyone,
was not an option.
It wasn't an option in my life.
But moving on generation to generation, you start trying new things, right? One of which being, hey,
Bizarre world, I'm doing the opposite.
I'm pissed off, right? But that's what you knew. And you were in an abusive marriage. So I'm sure you were scared to even say anything.
No, I was
right?
terrified.
You would shut down.
And it wasn't just I was afraid of my family. I was afraid of what law enforcement had up their sleeves.
Yes, everything. I get it. There was not a lot in your favor.
There was nothing in my
Okay.
favor for a long time.
But as a mother now, I make sure my kids know, Mommy's not mad at you. I just had a long day. Okay? Pick your shit up.
That's the win here, isn't it?
It is.
Okay. That makes me feel like I did something right, that you rejected the old guard and you said, no, I'm doing my own thing.
I am. And I think I do a lot of things differently than maybe you did and maybe your mother did.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of things the same. So I picked and choose what I wanted to take. This works, this doesn't. This is great. Nope, I'm going to do it this way. And I'm not perfect. I don't, always say, Mommy had a bad day, guys. You've seen me come in on a Saturday night, and I'm like,
Dragging. Ollie, I've had the same
Pick
look.
your shit up.
Now you know why I came in the door like a...
And I understand. Like, I get it.
I know you get it.
So no, I'm not perfect, but yes, I have learned what didn't work for me as a child, and I have to play around and see what works for my kids. But I do
And
try
the
to
fact
tell
that
them.
you have the latitude to do that is amazing, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I think it's amazing. It's such a departure from my world.
It is. It's a completely different generation. It's a completely different dynamic.
It's the equivalent of landing on Mars for me. And I am trying very hard. Just by virtue of being here, talking to my children, I want to learn. I want to understand why we have a disconnect here, why we have an issue here. I'm seeing these things now for what they are. And we were never able to, I can't even say articulate it. We couldn't even conceive of talking about these things 5 years ago. What do you think?
I didn't think it was as bad as it was with you and John.
Oh, okay.
Like, I thought everything was fine. Truly. Like, we're a family. Sometimes you get pissed off. Sometimes he gets pissed off. Sometimes I'm pissed off. But I didn't think it was that intense. Because I'm kind of out here, in La La Land over here with my kids. Marshall was a baby. So what the hell did I know? Other than I need to keep this kid alive, right? That was my focus. So I didn't see all the things going on around me and things, I didn't.
Should we go back to the courtroom?
No,
No, we have to.
I'm over the courtroom.
I know, but we haven't talked about it yet, so we need to talk about it.
What about it?
I want you to tell me what you remember.
No, I want to know what you want your point to be on the courtroom. Because my whole thing was to keep my brother in one piece.
Okay. My reason was A, to have a document filed in court. And B, the evidence shows, and it still shows, that Brad couldn't have cared less about doing the right thing for Tony. It wasn't about doing the right thing in Tony's memory. In addition to that, Brad was demonstrating to you and John what he thinks of you. He can't be bothered to honor Tony's memory. And my family was there dishonoring Tony's memory in support of Brad. So we had the hearing, or we go into the courtroom, we sit down, the judge walks in, we stand up, then we sit down, and the judge, the first thing he said was, I'm very sorry to hear about your loss. And your case is closed, or I'm closing your case because it's filed in the incorrect jurisdiction. Again, even before I walked in the courtroom, I had achieved my objective, so I didn't give a damn
Right.
what the outcome was. The judge, oh, I forgot this part. Before he dismissed us, Brad was sitting in the bullpen there crying to the judge. I had forgotten about that. I don't know where my son is. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was the only thing he said. I don't know where my son is. Can I ask you another question?
Mm-hmm.
Did Brad say hello to you or anything?
No, because in his mind, I was on the, I was against him because I was with you.
You're his daughter.
I was there with the right person.
I know. But do you understand? You were right there. You were 10 feet from him. And he couldn't say hello to you and then sat in the bullpen crying. The minute the judge dismissed our case, the judge and the bailiff left. And you and I looked at each other and went, okay, we're leaving. I gathered my folders, you got your things, we got up to leave. The minute I was in the aisle and my back was turned, my former husband starts screaming at me in a courtroom from the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what he was saying?
There goes the face of crazy.
Mm-hmm. I'm insane, I'm a lunatic, I'm every negative adjective you can think of, yelling at me across the courtroom.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember what I did?
No.
Because you swung around so fast, because all you had were, you were done. I had to hold my hand in front of you and told you it's time to go.
So I was going to go punch him in the throat?
But you were going to prove all those things he was saying about you, right? And I wasn't going to let you do that.
Right. He wanted that outburst. That's the reason.
Correct. And I knew what it was. I got you, pushed you to where I thought you were in a safe spot, and I turned around and I said, have fun with your new family. And I followed you out.
But we didn't leave right away. Right before I got to the door, I realized all these people arrived at court today for a show. They wanted the show. The show being me taken out of a courtroom in cuffs. That was the finale Brad was looking for.
But that doesn't even make any sense. You wouldn't be taken out in handcuffs. I know what you're saying, but like...
Well, the point is, he was down there in the bullpen trying to provoke me into an emotional response.
Correct. And I was there to prevent that from happening.
But I swung around before we left, and I walked right back down that aisle. You don't remember that part, do you?
I guess not.
I walked back down until I was toe-to-toe with Brad. As I'm walking past the peanut gallery, I hear everyone get up. The show is about to start. They were absolutely certain. I was walking back down that aisle to punch Brad in the face.
And what'd you do?
I said, I dare you to refile this complaint in the correct jurisdiction. As of today, Brad has never refiled that complaint. Brad has never made an attempt to resolve the issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's who my former husband is.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I said the date of that hearing was April 8th, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Mimi and Dee Dee, what was their relationship? Very quickly. What was it like?
Close.
Close. Like you didn't know where one started and the other one ended close, right?
Yeah.
If Andrea's planning to do anything, Mimi would have known it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Mimi would have been in on the planning stages, right? I want you to look at something. That was April 8th, 2000.
2008.
2008. What's the date on that?
April 22nd, 2008.
Would you open that for me?
Thank you for making it this far in our show. If you're feeling overwhelmed, that's okay. Just know that you're not alone, that we're here with you, and we're going to work through this together. If you need some help or assistance, dial 988 or head over to our website, www.byproxy.com. www.iamnotok.com. www.iamnotok.com for a space where you can breathe. And if you want to send us an email and let us know how you're doing, we can get back to you as soon as we can and make sure that you're on the right path. Now, back to the show.
What's it say?
Sorry for this difficult time.
And what was a difficult time? Do you remember?
His birthday.
Exactly. My mother knew what my family was planning to do before it happened, and she was in the same position when they returned from court. Because, you know, they went back and they had the round table conversations. My mother was there. Then my mother turns around and sends this card 2.5 weeks later, after she knew what my sister, her grandchildren, and my father did. This, I think, Holly, is the cruelest thing that my mother did. Mm-hmm. And up until right now, I don't think anyone knows that. I've never discussed these things with anybody. I'll show you what else I found. Can you read the postmarks on them? Because I can't really see them.
November 15th,
What year?
2010.
2010.
This was December of 2009. So your birthday, Christmas.
Open it. Just pick one.
Your birthday. Nope. Happy 50th. Love, Mom.
And what's in there?
A check for $30.
Just also a check in that one. And I found this one that was never open. Shall we open it?
I think this is 2010.
I think that's what I saw too. I'm going to scan these and ask John to insert them. So
You're better than me because I just threw everything out.
I thought I did throw everything out. John kept some of this stuff. That's the only reason it's here.
So the thing that I'm noticing is that the first couple cards that you had me open, it said, "Hi, Joe." She called you Joe. This one doesn't say anything. It just says, "Love, Mom."
You know what? I'll be honest. If I had been sending cards to somebody and they didn't respond, I don't think I'd be very nice to them either. On the other hand, this is a form of breaking someone's boundary. My family knew I didn't want anything to do with them. Mm-hmm. And I made damn sure that I had nothing to do with them. And yet, they won't stay out of my life. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it's been all along. I know the perception on both, obviously both sides of the family, is that I'm the reason everything in these families went wrong, even though I haven't been a part of these families for 40 years. And I just wanted to bring these to show it's not me chasing anyone down. Mm-hmm. I'm not sending letters. I'm not trying to covertly communicate with somebody on social media. I'm not stalking them online. And this is the way it's always been. These people come into my life and wreak havoc, and then they have the round tables and tell each other, we're sick of her shit. What shit are you sick of? What the hell are you talking about? I'm sick of your shit. Who's...
Right. Just leave me alone. Just leave
I leave you
me
alone. Even
right.
when you don't leave me alone, I'm leaving you alone.
Right.
What the hell shit are you sick of? I'd love to be able to ask these people these questions. You know, one of the paternal cousin, we'll call him Mr. Social Media. What the hell did he say? As a matter of fact, Tony would still be here if she hadn't split. She being me. So now it's a fact. These people know, and they must have evidence to substantiate these facts, that if I hadn't left my abusive former husband, Tony would still be here. It's a fact. They're telling me it's a fact.
And like I said earlier, Tony made a decision.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I know that we all took part in the guilt trip that comes after. Was it me? Was it me? Was it me? And we're going on 17 years this year. And I went through that guilt trip because I'm the one that picked up the phone, right? And that was the last thing he said to me was, you called the cops on me? And he left. So I dealt with that for a while. It's my fault. But I didn't force him to do anything. I didn't force him to leave and do what he did. Okay? He was battling demons that we had no idea about. So had we gone into therapy with him, we would have had him for another year or two. We would have prolonged the inevitable. But it was his decision at the end of the day. It's a very hurtful decision, but it was a decision that he made. No one made it for him. No one... The people that lived with him at that time was his home, was the people that loved him, that were there for him, that was every day in and out. And who were those people?
I have letters from that time that we're going to post.
You, me, and John.
That's right. Here's the big question. Where were all these people when Tony needed them?
Exactly.
I've had people tell me, and I'm like I said, I'm going to post these things in an email Hillary sent me 12 hours after that hearing. Mm-hmm. And in that letter, she said, why didn't you just string him up yourself? The worst part about that email, Hal, is it wasn't just her sentiments that she was spouting off. My family wanted me dead. Mm-hmm. And Hillary was emotionally stunted, so she couldn't keep her mouth shut. She couldn't control her emotions, which is why she sent me that secret anonymous poison email 12 hours after the hearing.
Which you trace back to her.
I did trace it back to her. I have all the reports right over there, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. I do think people ought to see how vicious these families can be. They wanted to see me on a slab to see if I have a heart, because I'm heartless.
Their opinion.
Well, yeah. Well, not an opinion. I have a heart, I promise. Wait, we posted a picture of my heart.
But all these people have this horrible opinion of you.
Right.
You must think it's true.
Well, sure, I thought it was true all along, Holly.
But you have two people who are telling you it's not.
That's why
It never.
I'm trying to learn.
It never has been. We got your back. Just like you had ours. I'm not saying it's easy thing to deal with, the trauma, all that, because I don't know it. John knows more than I do, traumatic-wise, trauma-wise. But fuck them. All of them. Because they don't know what I know. They can't see what I see. And they didn't see what I saw. Because you were very... You were able to be there for us in the shadows or whatever you want to call it and not be seen by them so you wouldn't be tormented more.
Isn't that an awful thing
You're
to
like
say?
a ninja.
Ninja mom?
Yes.
But seriously, when you think about it, I was.
Yeah.
Am.
Yeah.
You're right. I
Not
did
anymore,
everything
because
in my...
you-
No, not anymore, but I did spend all of my life then trying to stay off the radar.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only safe way to go through life. And even staying off the radar didn't always work. Oh, let's talk about your cousins contacting you. Which one contacted you and told you Mimi had, what the hell did she say? Mimi had a right to meet a great-grandchild?
My son? Yeah.
Yeah. Here's my first question. How did Mimi know there was a great-grandchild?
I'm sure because I posted it on my social media.
Okay, but why are these people stalking your social media?
Same reason they stalked you for all those years. Same reason.
When you told me that, Mimi has a right to meet a great-grandchild.
They did. They told me that, I forget how, why, where, whatever, but that I was, I should let Mimi meet, because he was the first one, the first great-grandchild.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
Hillary had a baby,
Oh.
right?
I don't know when that baby was born,
It
though.
was before Mac.
Oh, well, whatever then. She had one. So what the fuck does it matter? Leave me alone.
No, you ran into Tina at Kohl's. Steve was telling you she's pregnant.
Yeah, I
And
don't.
Tina said, by her fiance. Tina has to come in and save the day and make every girl who's having, what the hell you call it?
A child?
Extramarital sex. What is it? Extramarital? What the hell is it called? Extramarital? I can't remember what it's called, but having a child out of wedlock.
No.
So for
'Cause she didn't do
Tina, that's too close to the mark for her. She had a child almost out of wedlock or got pregnant before she was married, essentially. So by saying, by her fiancé, it's okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the point is, they're stalking your Facebook. They're telling you that Mimi has a right. And my response to that is, first of all, the decision whether or not to allow Macklin to see a great-grandmother or not is your decision.
Correct.
Completely your decision. You made your decision before you ever told me you were contacted. So I had no influence, direct influence, I should say, on your decision. You made the choice, yay or nay.
Correct.
And then you told me about it.
Well after the fact.
Oh, yeah, it was well after the fact. And I remember thinking, my mother had no rights when it came to my family.
No one has a right to my child except for me and his father.
Well, the point is, true, very true. But Mimi abdicated her right to my family by virtue of her conduct.
Correct.
Did Mimi ever try to repair her relationship with you?
No.
Poppy didn't?
Nope.
Did Tina or Andrea ever try? Not directly.
No.
So you've only ever been contacted then by the cousins.
Correct.
Do you think it's on behalf of somebody else, or you think they're doing it of their own volition?
Probably both.
Okay.
probably because this one's getting older and that one's getting older. But I made a decision pretty much that day in the courtroom on who was going to remain in my family and in my circle. And it was not a lot of those people, mainly your family.
You know, as terrible as that day was, then you were able to make a positive change in your life and say, okay, this buck stops here.
Correct.
Okay.
You're willing to show up to see a show, to see somebody hurt.
To create hurt.
For someone that isn't directly your mother.
I'm nothing to her.
Correct. Any of them.
True.
I don't want you a part of my life. If you're willing to hurt the one person who's always had my back, always, okay? Let's be clear. There was never a time where I haven't called you, needed you, and you haven't come and got me, okay? So if you're willing to stand on another side of a courtroom to back somebody up that you don't even have a relationship with.
Oh, that's right.
But yet you're willing to hurt my person? Done. And it's been like that since. I don't care about them, what they do, their lives, your sisters, none of them. I don't care. I'm not friends with any of them. I don't go searching for their shit.
I don't either.
I don't care. But I'm letting you know that.
Oh, I know you don't.
I
know you
do
don't.
not. My circle is very small. I keep it that way, and that's how it's going to be. I don't think about the things, the bad, whatever. I'm done. So I can have a happy, healthy life for myself and my children.
And that's a win. I'm never going to have that for me, personally. But seeing you and John moving forward without being hobbled by all of this, I think is a win for everyone.
It should be.
Right?
And you should look in the mirror for that because you had a very large part in doing that.
Yeah, I know you keep saying that, but I don't. There's an end. I said this to John too. We don't know what the outcome of any situation will be. And if we did, I think there are times we wouldn't even try. We'd just give up and say, no, I can't do this. And you deal with each situation almost in a vacuum, right? And it's that point in time, it's this situation, I'm dealing with it now, right? And then it's done. Whereas for me, I didn't deal with anything because nobody would talk to me. These people wouldn't talk to me. I went through life thinking, I can't do anything about this because I need answers to questions.
Right.
And the people with the answers won't talk to me. How the hell am I going to do anything?
Right.
And one day I was walking, Holly, and I realized, I stopped. Because I realized, what the hell is wrong with me? I'm expecting the people who have created all of these issues in my life to suddenly be honest with me and tell me why you did this and why you did that and what. What the hell is wrong with these people are going to talk to me? Why would I think that? Isn't that crazy?
No,
Really?
I don't think you're crazy.
No. I don't think I'm crazy. I'm just saying a reasonable person.
No, but the fact that you had that epiphany, they're not going to do it. Done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely done. I don't remember when I got to the point where maybe it was that hearing.
And I'm sure it takes a while. It was the hearing for me. Definitely. I'm 20 years old. Okay. I'm going to make my own fucking choice.
And like I said, Brad has never made an attempt to obtain what he wanted, what he said to the judge that he wanted. Never once made that attempt. Didn't refile the complaint. And I knew he wouldn't. That's why I walked back and said that. That was
Right.
the show. They thought I was going to go back, yell at him, and get dragged out in cuffs.
Please don't do that.
No. I was fine at that point. In fact, I was fine when I walked into the courtroom because I expected that to happen. So, what else did I want to talk about? The hearing. Do you remember? Let me ask you this. We were at home one night. There was a knock at the door. And you answered the door. Do you remember who was there? You and I were at home in our apartment. Hillary. Do you remember when Hillary showed up one night?
No. Yeah. Maybe.
I made dinner for you. Both of you, chicken.
Okay, why'd she show up?
She had a difference of opinion with her parents.
Okay.
Because at one point she was complaining and she was referring to Andrea as Wheezy, and her father is a hillbilly. Mm-hmm. Is that true? Did they do that? That's what I seem to remember. So she had an argument or something with her family, and she left and was out walking and came to our place. So I invited her in, made her dinner, asked her if she needed anything. While you guys were eating, I was cleaning up in the kitchen, so I heard you talking. She was, like I said, complaining about her parents. What 16 or 15-year-old doesn't complain about their parents?
Right.
But the point is, she shows up out of the blue. And I treated her as if she were one of my own. Mm-hmm. And I've never had harsh words with any of these kids.
No.
Do you remember what they did on the first anniversary of Tony's death? Pictures, do you remember?
Pictures.
Katie, Hillary, Serena, and someone else who took pictures went to the location where Tony died on the first anniversary of his death.
No.
They had party, like balloons and shit. And they were there where Tony died, taking pictures on the first anniversary of his death, smiling, Holly.
Oh.
And then posted them on MySpace, knowing that somebody in Tony's family would see them. And the purpose of doing that, I believe, was to post those pictures on the internet to harm Tony's family. And Katie was a part of that.
They don't know the exact location, so joke's
Yes,
on
they
them. No, they do not.
How do they not?
Because there's one person that knows, besides the cop.
The cops took them there, Holly.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
Mm-mm.
Where'd they take them?
They didn't take them there.
Holly, look at me. Poppy went to the police station. They went there, Holly. Tell me how you know they don't or didn't.
I don't.
I need to know.
No, I don't know because I didn't know about it. But I'm telling you what I know, and it wasn't where they think it was.
They went with a police
Okay.
officer.
Okay. And what? That makes them feel better? That you threw this little fake ass party on my brother's anniversary?
Yes.
Good for them.
To harm his family. That doesn't bother you?
No. It doesn't. Because those are the types of people that they are. They need to make a show of things.
How
They
are people
pretend
so cruel.
That they were there for him and he was my best buddy and
Right, none of them were in his life.
but it's a show.
I know it's a show.
They need to be center stage.
No, I need to be the center of attention. That's what it said in the letter.
They need to be center stage to show the world, oh man, my cousin died.
Oh, so they're using his death
Correct.
in order to gain internet sympathy points?
I guess. They also put my brother's football number on the side of Jimmy's gravestone
Do you know why they did that?
because they didn't want to ask me. They didn't ask us for permission. But yes, I know what was in there.
What?
part of his ashes.
Interred with Jimmy.
Yeah, I understand. But they didn't ask us for that. They didn't ask us to do that. He's our sibling, not theirs.
They had no idea what Tony would have wanted, and they violated every decent tenet when it comes to deaths in a family. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were making unilateral decisions. My father went back to the station several times. Puppy had access to the file, the active file. No one else in the world would have gotten access to that file. Puppy did it behind my back without my knowledge. Individuals within the police department allowed it to happen. And again, without my knowledge, without your knowledge, without John's knowledge. And that's what was happening all along in my life. Even as I literally and physically distanced myself. I wasn't a part of anything. There were times where you and Tony and John were invited to something. You know, I put my fat ass in the car and drive you to be with the family.
You did?
A part of me regrets all of it.
I don't know why.
Exposing you, Tony and John, to my family.
They were our family.
I know.
You can't take any of it back, Mom. There's nothing. We had good times. It wasn't all bad.
I'm not saying it was all bad.
Don't regret it then. If anybody had more time with them and came out okay, it was me. I spent a lot of time with them, with and without Tony. And at that point, John was in high school and had football and whatever, so he wasn't there a lot. I was the one who was exposed.
What were you exposed to?
Your words. Exposed to them.
Right.
And look at me. So what are you regretting? You got to stop living your life. I'm regretting things that you did or did not do.
Well, I need to get them out of my life, out
Correct.
of my head.
Correct.
Many of these things, Holly, have only lived inside of me since they happened.
True. But I'm telling you, stop. I had a
I
fun
have to
time
get
with
it
them.
out. Okay. When did it turn sour?
After my brother died.
Wasn't before?
No. I stopped talking to him and seeing him a lot because I was in high school, but no, it was after my brother died. All of this for me happened after my brother died.
Do you remember how they were at Tony's service?
I don't. That day was so horrific for me that I don't even remember what I wore, if I'm being perfectly honest with you.
I don't remember what you wore either. But here's what I do remember. We were in the funeral home, in the room. Brad and I were by the door. That's what you do at a funeral. You greet the people coming in. And I was standing there, and I looked over to my right. We were by the door, and everything was on this side of the room. Mm-hmm. So I looked over to my right, and there's my whole family. They're congregated all the way over there, whispering to each other. And the divide between me and my family, and Brad's family for that matter, it was almost as if, did you ever see a fish swimming through a bait ball? Do you know what a bait ball is? And all the fish just move out of the way?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. Everyone was being repelled by me. And the reason it's significant is that's what happened when Laura died. My family treated me exactly the same way when Tony died, as if I were repulsive to them. And they were on the other side of the room. Anyone with eyes could see this family is screwed up. And you didn't feel any of that? You didn't see it? I think it hit me because I was reliving Laura's funeral. And realizing nothing changed with these people.
And nothing's going to change with these people. Nothing.
I know.
You have a new family. You've
Can we
had a
just
new
talk
family.
about these things so I can get them out?
Get them out. I truly remember, I don't even remember. I just remember a lot of people being there. And that's about it.
Can I tell you something? If my family had restricted their abuse to just me, I never would have walked away. I would still be a peripheral part of the family.
You would have eventually, because we would have caught on. Me and John are pretty smart.
Yeah, you are pretty smart.
You know what I mean? Like, we wouldn't have allowed that
But what I'm saying
as
is,
we got older.
they were doing to you what they did to me at Tony's service. That's the point I'm trying to make. I watched my family treat my children the way they did when Laura died, the way they treated me when Laura died. That was the beginning of the, okay, wait a minute for me. Not that I was thinking it in the moment, but when I started to make the decision that I'm done, these situations that happened during that period when I was in their faces, you were in their faces. And what they were doing was ignoring us, right? Even though we're right there in their faces, they're making unilateral decisions. What the hell did Andrea do? You probably don't remember this either. For some reason, cards and flowers and whatnot were coming to Andrea's house. Do you remember that? Sympathy cards, flowers. They were in Andrea's house. And I wasn't there. I had gone to work. And I come back and the cards are open and what the hell is going on?
No,
Andrea
I didn't.
had you open them.
I didn't open them.
She told me she had you do it.
I didn't open any cards.
She must have done it.
Why would I open cards?
Because she told you to.
I was 19, Mom. I would have put that together.
She told me you did.
No. Are you really surprised?
Yes.
No. It had your name on it. Bear family. Okay?
Right, but that's why I thought if she had had you open them, they're addressed to us,
Fair.
right?
Right.
So it would have been, well, they're addressed to the kids too, so they can open them.
Well, yeah, and you've never been one to be like, no, that has my name on it, I'm going to open it. You'd
Yeah,
be like,
no,
open
no,
it.
yeah.
Go ahead. No, I didn't open anything.
And she did it when I wasn't there.
I'm sure she did.
Do you remember Tony's football equipment situation?
What do you mean his football equipment?
I had football equipment of Tony's from CB South.
Uh-huh.
And I put it in my car one day. I was going to take it over to the school to return it. Or to donate it. I can't remember. Maybe it was
No, we had
donating it.
to, we had his helmet. We had to take that back to the school. That I remember doing.
Oh, you did take
We
it?
borrowed it. The helmet.
No, I'm talking about clothes and stuff.
Yeah, no. If it was closed, then I don't.
Yeah, they were in my car, and I was going to take them back to the high school. And I went to get in my car, and they weren't there. I was parked in front of Andrea's house. They weren't there. The car was locked, but the clothing wasn't there. And I was going nuts looking for this clothing. I'm asking, does anybody know? Did anybody see anything? What the hell did I do? I'm thinking I lost my mind. Because I know I put those things in the car.
Right.
I know I was planning to take them. Long story short, more than 24 hours later, Andrea told me she had you take them to the school.
I know I took the helmet. The helmet is the only thing that we borrowed. And I knew that had to go back. And I do remember taking the helmet. I can't say that there was anything with it. I don't remember that.
Okay. But the point is, it was more than 24 hours later.
Well, she could have been like, Holly took care of it because, she needed a minute to get out of the house. So,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that would have been the right fucking thing to do. But they're fucking nuts. They wanted to watch you spiral. And then they said, don't worry about it. We took it. We handled it. But I'm assuming I didn't know that you were looking for them, or I would have said something. Like,
I don't think
hey,
you
Mom,
knew.
I took
You weren't
the
there
helmet.
when I was talking to
I might have been at
Andrea.
work. But that's how fucked up they are.
Let me give you another one.
They watched you spiral.
Several weeks after Tony died, I was in Andrea's kitchen. Andrea was in her kitchen. And I cornered her, toe to toe. And I asked her why she showed up in court to testify against me in a custody hearing. And her answer was, we thought you wouldn't let us see the kids. I look around the kitchen. Who's we? Who the hell is we? I didn't ask Andrea to tell me what anyone else did. I said, why did you do what you did to me and my family? We thought you wouldn't let us see the kids. We thought you wouldn't let us see the kids. Andrea's admitting to me that I wasn't guilty of anything. She did this because she thought I would withhold access to my children.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, there was somebody in the equation that withheld access to their children from every member of the family during these 20 years. But it wasn't me. So Andrea's telling me, we thought you wouldn't let us see the kids. And she went on a bender with the rest of my family and Brad and his family to destroy our lives because of what she thought might happen. She's the thought police. My family's the thought police. They thought I was doing this and therefore tried to destroy my life. Brad thought I was doing X, Y, or Z, tried to destroy my life. And along comes, peripheral members of the family to reiterate what these people had told me, 16, 17, 18 years ago? Jesus Christ. They're horrible people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry that was your life for the past 60 years.
Here's the real question. Why the hell would I want to be a part of that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I honestly don't know. Let me ask you
Good thing
another
you're not.
question. Let me ask you another question. Do you remember your telephone number growing up?
Your house or Dad's?
Both.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember my telephone number from when I was growing up.
Well, wasn't it only like 4 digits?
No, it was 2, and you could dial them with your eyes closed.
Yes, I remember both my phone numbers. Yours and Dad's.
Holly, my family had the same telephone number.
Probably because you weren't allowed to use it.
Well, no, from the time I was a kid until Mimi moved. Long after my parents' divorce, after Laura's death. So that number was my family's number for what was that? 28 years maybe? And I can't remember it.
Good.
Do you think I blocked it out?
One step closer. Maybe.
I can't remember what year Andrew was born.
I don't know. I just know it was July.
Yes, July 13th.
Mm-hmm.
She was a Friday the 13th kid.
Well, there it is.
Amazing, right? Oh my God, they're awful people. Did you ever feel hurt by anything they did?
Hurt, yes. Enough to hold on to it, no.
So
I was always the fat one,
What?
the ugly one. You knew this.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. I've told you this before. Because there was 3 sisters. They would all poke fun at me because I was really the pretty one. But no, I don't hold on to it.
Why do I? What the hell's wrong with
That's
me?
all you know.
I've let all of this really do a number on my head, haven't I?
Mm-hmm.
You were right in your video with John. I don't think telling someone these things will make any impact. The individual themselves has to reach those conclusions on their own.
Right.
So why can't I reach those conclusions?
I don't know. Just like when you tell a kid, when you told me when I was a kid, don't do that, you're going to regret it. And then I do it.
Did I ever say that?
And then I was like, shit, you were right. It's the same thing. I can tell you my feelings and all these things, but until you're willing to be like, you know what, fuck it.
It's not that I'm not willing. There's this weird disconnect between what I know intellectually and what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's as if there's no upstairs, downstairs. There's no communication between the brain and the emotional
your
center.
heart is a little fucked up.
What do you mean?
You know, you had to have some surgeries and stuff. Maybe they took the staircase away when they were in there.
I don't think that connection was ever there. Seriously, when you feel something emotionally, and I'm talking to you logically, because that's what I do, are you able to take that step back and look at it logically?
In the moment, no.
No? Okay.
In the moment, no.
Okay.
But it takes, when I'm calmed down or less emotional or whatever, thinking
Right.
back on it,
Right.
yeah, then I'm like, oh, okay, all right. But
So that makes sense? Okay.
it does. It does.
Tell me your best memory from childhood. One of your best.
The Renaissance Fair.
You have those pictures somewhere.
I'm sure I do. I have a lot of shit.
It's in one of those frames that, like, you put the pictures in and you can change the picture.
Yeah, I don't think I have that frame anymore, though.
Do you remember how John was so miserable that day, or you don't remember?
I don't. I was having the time of my life.
Oh, we were getting ready to go to the Renaissance
Is that
Fair.
when you gave us the glass jar of iced tea?
No,
Okay,
no,
all
that
right.
was the 4th of July.
Okay. Well, it was definitely the Renaissance Fair. And the pillow thing where you
Oh
knock
my
the other one
God.
off. I mean, I knew I was getting knocked off, but it was still fun. I had a lot of fun.
I thought it was
But
an
it was
awesome
multiple
day.
times that we've gone to these things, right? I always remember you taking us somewhere. It wasn't every weekend. It wasn't every time we were with you, but we would do fun shit.
Do you remember when we went to the Lenape Museum with Tina? It was me, Tina, Bruce, you, John, Tony, Jimmy, and Katie.
No, I don't
And we
remember
went to
that.
the Lenape Museum because we thought we were Lenape tribe. And then John found out that we weren't.
It's okay.
I don't know why I find that so funny.
It is. Somebody else did that. They got their whatever.
Results?
And she's mostly Irish and like a little Mongolian, like Asian descent. And she's like, so it's kind of funny to see what you think you are your whole life, and then you get these, and you're like, oh,
What did you think you were all your life growing up?
Italian.
Just Italian?
No, I mean, yeah. The fuck do I know? And John has his whole thing, but I didn't do mine. I could be very different.
I don't see how it could be very different. You have the same parents. Your distribution in terms of the genes might be different because you're female, because
Right.
what have you. But I would think you're in the same ballpark as John and Tony would be. So,
And you?
well, no,
We should do
actually
yours.
I would be different. Like I think I'm half Italian. My mother, to the best of my knowledge, both of her parents came over from Italy in the early, it's like 1916, 1918. Mm-hmm. They came over from Italy. They were processed through Ellis Island. And I think it's Ancestry.com. You can go and look for the ship manifest where Nana came over and where the man she was going to marry came over. And Nana's name was, when she came over, Giuseppina Gagliardi. And my middle name is Josephine. Mm-hmm. I don't know why they would have named me Josephina.
That's probably what they called you.
What, Josephina?
Yeah.
No. They call me JoJo. I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember anybody in my family using my actual full name.
Oh.
Which is why I've spent most of my life forgetting that my name is actually Mary. Mm-hmm.
True.
I've never used.
Just that, yeah.
Right? MJ, Joe. What else? Well, I'm sure people have had other names for me.
Everyone is going to have a different name for all of us.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Who uses my name? Nobody calls me by Joe anymore. Mm-mm. That's kind of sad. Do you think I'm weird because I isolate myself?
Weird?
Yeah.
No. Why would you be weird for that?
Well, because human beings are by nature social creatures. And I've gone the complete opposite.
Yeah, well, you've had a lot of trauma. It's... I don't know that you isolate yourself so much as you just keep your circle tiny.
I know, I isolated myself. That was intentional.
I'm talking about me, Phil, the boys.
Just my family, right.
Your circle.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that's weird.
John always made me feel like it was weird.
John's more of a social person. John has a lot of... I think me and John flip-flopped. He was always the homebody, never wanted to go out, and I always had to be out.
Yes.
Yeah. And now he's like, I'm going out, I'm going on vacation, I'm going here, I'm going there. He's the social one. I'm
and
like, fuck that. Get me home. Leave me here in my little house. I think we flip-flopped.
That's not weird. You both made that transition?
Yeah, I just think this is like the first time I actually
thought about it that way? That's why you have these conversations.
It's kind of wild.
That's weird that basically you traded personalities or traded, what is it I'm looking for? Traded, not personality.
I can't think of the word, but I know what you're saying.
Approach to life?
Yeah.
And did you both transition at the same time?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
Is it weird that every once in a while I wish I had a family?
You do?
No. I mean, Holly, I don't have anybody in my life
You do.
who's known me before 1981. And even then, you and John only know me as your mom, really.
True.
It's another reason I want to talk about some of the things that happened. So maybe you can get a clearer picture of why I've made some of the choices I've made in life. I want you to get a feel for what growing up in the 60s and 70s was versus your experiences now versus the boys' experiences. And if you can keep that in mind, that sometimes your kids act like they're being defiant little jackasses, right? And it's not because they're trying to be defiant. It's what they know, right? They learn very different things. Well, the boys with the tablets.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Even the little one, boink, hit the microphone and tells YouTube what he wants to watch. That blows my mind.
It's such a completely different, even from just when I was growing up,
Right,
let
that's what
alone
I'm
you.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
But just from when I was growing up, yeah. I'm the mom that gives the kid a tablet.
Every mother gives their kid. If you don't allow your children to grow up with the technology of their lifetime, I think you're doing your child a disservice. As much as you don't want your child to be, a little technophobe or whatever. Not technophobe, techno guru, I guess it is. Technology guru. You don't want your kids to be too much into technology. You want them to play with their little friends outside. And then you have the families that were off the grid. We have no electricity. They don't know what an iPad is. I think that's doing your kids a disservice. There are things I didn't want in your lives, but I couldn't stop it.
No.
You know what I mean? And if you try to stop all of these things, your kids go to ground and they find a way to do it anyway.
Anyway.
Right? And then you always are like, how the hell did you know I did it anyway?
That's true.
How did I know?
Because you knew everything.
No, because I did it in my life.
Exactly.
I was, that's the other thing I wanted to talk to you about. Do you ever, when you're talking to the boys, try to remember how you were at their ages before you flip out about something? Do you like say, I remember when I was 5 years or 7 years old?
Not always, but I try to.
Okay.
I'm getting better at that. But 7, I don't remember what I was doing at 4 and almost 5 with Marshall.
Yeah.
But Macklin, yesterday, he was, okay, whatever. Okay.
The teenager
The
thing?
rolling of the eyes, and I'm just looking at him like, wow. I definitely did that.
Yes, every kid does.
I definitely did that. So I'm just like, okay, can you go clean your room now? Can you get me the trash from your room? And he brings down one piece at a time.
Yeah, I've seen him do things like that.
So, yeah.
I think that's important for us to remember what we were.
We were kids
like.
too, yeah.
Not even just kids. Like, I remember what it was like for me at 35. I remember what it was like for me at 43, 50, whatever. So when I'm talking to you and John, I'm trying to remember my perspective at the age you are now. So that when I respond to you, I'm trying to respond like a one-on-one. I don't like the idea of anyone believing I'm above my children. I think we're equals, right? We're human beings. We're equals. I
We're
am
human
your
beings,
mother.
but you are my mom.
Right,
There's a
right.
different respect boundary that I wouldn't cross.
But I also want you and John to understand, and the boys and anyone else that in the family that I'm talking to, that when I'm talking to you, I am trying to take into account, again, your age, what I believe your perception is. Sometimes I get it wrong. But I think that has served me well as a mom. And I just wanted to know if you did the same thing, and I think it's really cool that you do.
I try to. Yeah.
I also think it's cool that you and John cook with tongs. That just cracks me up.
They are the best tool. I have
you ever
about
see
4
me?
pairs.
Did you ever see me in the kitchen without a pair of tongs?
I did. And then when you got tongs, it was like they multiplied. Where are my tongs? Tongs. I knew that if you came home from work and the tongs weren't clean,
All hell would break loose.
I wasn't eating.
I like cooking. I still love cooking.
I know.
Not that I'm a chef.
No, I'm
a mom, right?
Exactly.
I cook.
Got to
mom
make
food.
sure that I always make sure my kids are fed. Not so great with me, but as long as my kids are fed, I'm good.
Yeah, but you do need to take care of yourself.
I do.
I know you do.
We're not even getting on that. Thank you, though.
Okay.
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 Thank you for listening to our show. If you're interested in how we've gotten this far, I've put together a small guide that has a 3-step process at no cost. You can get that at www.iamnotokay.com/truth. www.iamnotokay.com/truth. notok.com/TRUTH. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you on the inside. Be well.